Always start your property journey with the end in sight. It's all about having the right exit strategy. That is the topic on today's show here at Property Answers. And we're joined by our experts who have 7 decades in this world of property, John and Ranjan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Feeling good
Hello.
today?
Feeling good. On the ball, feeling
excited
sharp.
about this one? Got
Yep.
your exit strategy plan ready?
Yep.
And don't forget also to like and subscribe here at on the YouTube channel. So let's start on this one for you, Ranjan. Exit strategies are crucial in property investment. What are some common exit strategies you employ? And how do you decide which one to use for a particular investment?
Well, I always consider the exit, how I'm going to get out of the deal from the very beginning. And I'm looking at, first of all, that I'm going to get all or most of my money back, that I'm going to get a return on the investment that I made. I'm going to do it in a particular time frame that's acceptable to me, and whatever risks or unknowns are mitigated as far as possible. My exit through most of the deals that I do, virtually all the deals that I do, is via refinancing. So what I've got to do is develop my properties to a level whereby I've added value so that when I get them refinanced, they're valued adequately, and also they rent out at a level that produces the cash flow which more than services the debt and produces the return. But you've also got to look at backup plans. Now I know, John, you do a lot of sales.
Yes, I do. So always have an out before we have an in. Always know what you're going to do if it goes wrong. And hopefully you've got at least 2 exit strategies, if not 3. We talked about my 3 golden rules in another show earlier. With property developing, Ranjan's covered very well investment. Bit boring, but it's that's what it is.
Some people, doesn't
That's
it?
what it is. It suits.
You like boring, don't you, Ranjan?
It suits the steady eddies
Yes,
in
of
life.
course.
Yeah. But if you want to ramp things up and get things a bit more exciting, then property developing is where you should be. Doesn't always go right, but there's big capital gains to gain. Big capital gain at the end of it if it does go right. And there's 3 things I look at, 3 phases in any development I do. 1, to get the bank's money back. Whew.
Yes.
Second, get my own cash back. Whew.
Another way off shoulders.
Third is get some profit. Now, if I get it wrong, hopefully I've still got to get the first 2 right. If I get the third one wrong, in other words, the most important thing is always to get the bank money back. Second is to get your own money back. Third is to make a profit. If I can't make a profit because I've got it wrong and it's gone wrong, and they do go wrong, and anyone who says property development doesn't go wrong, it's always up and no, it's not. You will make mistakes. On occasion, you will lose money or at least not make any money. The key is to, when it does start to go wrong, to anticipate that early on and to deal with it as best you can. And you learn far more when things go wrong than when things go right.
Yep.
And they will go wrong.
Yeah.
I think property development is far more dependent on the mood of the market.
Yeah.
And the mood of the market can change dramatically and overnight.
As can build costs.
That's
And
one of
builders
the things,
going
for
bankrupt.
example.
Right.
Because
We've had it all.
even if market sentiment changes, exit through letting out is usually always an option.
Yes.
But if you've only thought about selling, unless you do the things that John's talked about, because he's been here for 30, 40 years, so he's obviously done it right. That's the main, many developers assume, and I think this is the mistake they make, is they assume the fair weather is going to continue.
Yeah.
Oh.
They never assume from the outset that the music can stop and they're left without a chair in the middle of their build. And if you run the project as though that is going to happen, then you're going to survive. No matter what.
I see so many developments at the moment. I get called in by banks and receivers, and we buy off receivers where properties, developments are half finished. And the one common denominator with all of them, nothing is finished.
Yes.
They might have 7 houses, 10 houses, 20 houses, 3 houses. There is one damn house that's finished. If there's 5, get 1 finished, get 2 finished, get the money in on those. Don't try and do the whole lot and run out of money.
Yeah. This actually relates to the next question. Could you discuss the importance of having multiple exit strategies in place when entering a property investment? So the multiple exit
Almost
plans.
the same thing. It's similar to what we've just said. We've
That's
jumped the gun a little bit. But what I would say is, if you're looking to do a development and you're doing, say, flats, then you're likely to be able to rent some out. You may not have to sell them all to get out of trouble. You may be able to sell half and let half. You may want to sell half and keep half. You may want to do it as a strategy. So that is a strategy. If you're building big luxury houses at £1 million each, and people do, and more, and you can't sell them, you're in big trouble.
What do you do? Yeah.
Because the rent will never cover the loans or anything else. I did a seminar a few years ago in Manchester, and this guy said to me, "Oh, I couldn't do what you do, John." I said, "Oh, you know, these bigger schemes, this, that, and the other." I said, "What do you do?" He said, "When I build one-off houses for footballers between £3 and £5 million in Manchester." I went, "And you think I take risks?"
Wow! Yeah.
Wow! How about that?
That's
And he thought that was really safe. So so your level of risk is depending on who you're talking to and what their
what project
expertise
you've
is.
got as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think there's a point that John said, which is worthy of picking up.
Thank you.
Exit is not just
You
at
like
the
it when
end.
he agrees with you, don't you? I know you
I
do.
get a bit worried, to be honest with you.
Exit shouldn't be just at the end of the project.
Right.
And that can be one of the things that many people do wrong. Exit, you should be thinking about partial exit during the course of the project.
Yeah.
And one of the ways the big developers do it is they phase development.
Absolutely. Phasing.
Which is, goes back to what you're saying about completing something. So, you know, I see with commercial to residential conversions, for example, people will take an office building and they'll want to do the whole lot. Well, why not, you know, aim to do the top 2 floors first?
Yes.
Get those 8 flats
Or
done.
if you're doing any block of flats, always start at the top down. Top down,
Yeah.
always.
Why is
top
that?
down. Because you're
Mess.
getting, as you go, you get completed as you go down.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought most people just prefer the higher flats.
No,
top
it's
floor
mess, I
flats.
think.
It's all mess.
Or, you know,
Always top down.
Keep
Oh,
the stuff.
that's
But then
another-
you can
okay.
partially exit.
Yes.
That keeps your bankers happy, keeps your funders happy, brings money into the
Get
project.
the communal hallways finished, the door finished, the hallways finished, the stairs finished, and then the upper flats finished. Bang, you can sell them.
Then you're good to go.
Part completion, get completion certificate on those individual flats. You can sell them.
Brilliant.
And I think I see why people, you know, decide to do the big bang approach, because they're trying to organise their trades. So the reason why people haven't finished anything is because, you know, the second fix and the plastering is all happening together for everything. They haven't phased it. They haven't scheduled or done their work plan.
No, they haven't.
To having some exits
but
along
also,
the way.
But also, you see them on YouTube and all these other places where they haven't even started and they're telling everyone they're going to make £1 million or £2 million out of it, and they haven't even started.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
it's
a guessing game.
absolute madness, and they want to go from 0 to 100 as quick as possible, and sometimes you're better off to start with HMOs, then move on to perhaps converting some flats, and then move up the scale rather than try and go from 0 to 100 in about a year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, for both of you, what factors influence your decision to exit an investment, and how do you determine the optimal timing for doing so?
Well,
Those factors.
I think that's a very, very good question.
Great
because I think
question.
some people end up getting. There are some situations where you may need to call time on a project. You know, you have to decide on whether it is worth continuing with, because some things can move away with you. I think there's also some things where people try to do too much to a project. Like we're doing a particular project where we've done something with PD. You could do something extra in the roof, but the extra effort in getting that planning permission
just
and
not
doing
worth
that
it
work,
financially.
exactly.
Yeah. And time as well.
You might as well get out,
Yeah.
you know, and the fact that extra is at the top of the building and the bottom of the one is all. So you have to think, well, is it worth exiting, leaving some potential still in the deal, because the return on exiting with what you're going to exit with is much more than the extra that you'll get from doing the rest. So that's one big consideration that always factor in.
I think you can be too clever. People are, especially these days, they're taught all these different strategies and they're squeezing every last ounce out of a property. I mean, every last
Gram.
little ounce. Or what?
Graham.
Gram, even a gram, sorry. Yes.
Metric.
Metric.
Ounce, gram, unit, meter.
You name it, who knows. And actually, that isn't always the best thing to do in two ways. One, cash is king, time is money. So you can spend another year faffing around, but if you're not going to make a lot more money out of it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Move on to the next deal. Keep your money moving all the time. I was taught by two very successful property developers many, many years ago when I was perhaps 18, 19. They said, the best advice we can give you, John, is keep your money moving.
Yes.
Make sure you've always got some money to go again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any questions for John and Ranjan, don't forget also the description for the link is below. Okay, so for property developers, what are the primary exit strategies typically employed upon completion of a development project? You might cover it a little bit, but...
We have a little bit, but it's a good question because ideally you really are looking, if you're a property developer, you're looking to sell all the units and you're looking to sell them within a sensible period of time. And you need to be organised to do so. So, for instance, and it doesn't matter whether you're selling one house, in my view, or 150 flats or whatever it is, you need to get a sales pack sorted out before you start. So you want your solicitor to have all the information, all the necessary guarantees and warranties that you need, certificates these days, with them as soon as possible. They can then create a sales pack which will include the contract. You might even get searches done on behalf of the buyer. Yeah. When you then have a buyer and you say to them you've got 28 days to exchange, from receipt of papers from your solicitor, the papers arrive next day. They don't arrive 3 weeks later because they can't find the certificate, can't find this, can't find that. And don't worry about having paid for the search up front, which lasts 3 to 6 months, because you can put in the contract that the search has to be repaid by the purchaser. So make it easy as possible for yourself to get out of the project at the end.
As quick as possible.
As quick as possible.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you've got to be mindful of when you're doing a development and you're building for first-time buyers. First-time buyers, by definition, first time they bought a property, biggest decision they made in their life. So they by and large, can be a little bit slower. And remember, if you're building 8 flats, you don't really make your profit until you've sold the last few.
Absolutely.
So, and in a slower market, that can take a long time. Yeah. And don't forget the holy grail of doing any development project, which is to have your exit cleared before you've laid a brick or done anything. Yes. So look for those opportunities. So if you're doing a conversion scheme, is there a housing association, is there a social housing provider who will rent the whole lot from you? Because if they will give you a contract, a 5-year lease agreement to take it all off your hands, you've got your funding issues sorted in terms of developing that project out. So there are ways of getting that exit, either sell or rent the whole development once it's done, and getting that sewn up at the very, very beginning, which means you have no sale costs as well.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't mention is put everyone on a time scale. The builder probably won't stick to it. Add another 3 months and mention in your head, but give everyone a time scale. So a time scale to the builder, time scale for the person who's buying it. Try and keep control of the whole development.
Yeah. I think that leads on quite nicely then to our final question. What challenges or obstacles might developers encounter when implementing their chosen exit strategy, and how do you recommend addressing them?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? I've jumped in there.
No,
it's like a therapy session for me.
It's a great final answer.
It is a great question. I think the biggest thing that runs away from people is time.
Yeah.
Everything takes longer than you think it's going to take.
Yeah, absolutely, and costs more normally.
And also having
people
the
are
right
too
people
optimistic.
in place as
well, if you get 3 things wrong, if you get the building price wrong because you put it too low, and you get the time of finishing it wrong in terms it takes too long to finish, and you're too optimistic on your price, you're dead in the water. Let me tell you, you are dead in the water. You're not going to make a penny.
Right.
So you need to get at least 2 out of 3 right.
To get that plan in place pronto and right at the start.
And the most important thing is under promise and over deliver. Right. Whether that's to yourself as a development or to a backer or a bank, Don't tell them you can do something which you don't think you can in the end.
Yeah.
Because everyone loses confidence.
Yeah.
What we have seen, I think, in recent years is, when you look at, and you work with a lot of people whose developments have gone wrong,
Yeah.
and you pick them up, and a lot of these guys never expected the music to stop.
No.
And they assumed a certain trajectory of the market
Yeah.
that was going upwards, and they've factored that into their exit. So the market has to go up
Yeah.
for everything to work.
It's
And what they've done is they've got so excited about doing the deal, they've done it with a wafer-thin margin, which only works if the wind blows in their sails.
Yes.
The minute it stops, it's stuffed.
The other thing is, they all think they're going to sell these properties off plan. They're never going to have to.
No.
Oh no, we're going to sell them in 3 months. What?
Yeah.
A year,
Good
not
luck.
3 months. Good luck with that. If it happens in 3 months, wonderful. But you've got to be realistic and phase them. Is I'd sell 2. If there's 10 houses, right, I'm going to sell 2 in the first 3 months, 2 in the next 3 months, and then like that. So, and if you do better than that, that's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of psychology there as well, because let's say you've got 12 houses in a field and they're all available for sale. No one really wants to be the first one.
No.
If you phase it and you've only got 3 available in the first phase,
Get
then
some-
there's a finite
What we
supply.
call it, get some curtains up. Get some curtains up and a light on.
That could sound a bit different to
I
what
know.
we're talking about here.
I know, but get some curtains up and a light on. Gives
Right.
people confidence.
Gives people confidence.
Yep.
Yep. Well, I think you've answered absolutely perfectly.
Thank you.
Really hope you've answered your questions on exit strategies. John and Ranjan will be back here at Property Answers for you again soon, so keep your messages coming in. Thanks for watching.